Real silence is internal silence. And once the internal silence happens and it's calm, then you can actually realize the truth of who you are, the truth and beauty of the Quran, the truth and beauty of the Rahmah entering your heart and your ruh. So that's just a principle and reminder for today. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasul Kareem. From a beautiful hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Anas bin Malik reports that the Prophet ﷺ said, عليك بحسن الخلق وطول الصمت فوالذي نفس محمد بيده ما عمل الخلائق عملا أحب إلى الله منهما. Shu'ab al-Iman 4591, great as Hasan, where Rasulullah ﷺ said that upon you is the responsibility to do what? Two things. Number one, husn al-khuluq, to have good character, meaning refine, having beautiful interactions with other people and how you interact. So having good akhlaq. And secondly, wa tul as-samt, very uniquely Rasulullah said, and lengthy periods of silence. And then Rasulullah says, and he swears and says, by the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, no one can behave with deeds more beloved to Allah than these two. So we've heard of good character, but we don't realize how important it is for our overall success in life, and one of the things that should be our daily priorities for us to work on, right? How we speak to others, how we work, and akhlaq also relates to how we have adab with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what's interesting is here Rasulullah also added another task, which is very unique, وَطُولِ الصَّمْتِ, having lengthy periods of silence. Even Rasulullah when his heart was coming towards doing more ibadah of Allah, he wasn't satisfied by doing ibadah just at home with his many kids and his wife, although he was happy at home. His heart desired isolation. He wanted some khalwa. This is before his prophethood, right? So then he would go to Ghar Hira eventually and make that a habit of doing ibadah there, being silent there, reflecting there, and coming to the dhikr and ibadah of Allah there. So there's some power, there's some barakah, there's some rahmah, there's some unveilings that happen by silence. We live in a world where there's so much noise, social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and everything else. Notification, and then even outside, the cars are moving, the hustling and bustling, the bazaars, the markets, everything else is so noisy. And one of the things Rasulullah is saying, that one of the things is a responsibility upon you, is long periods of silence. It's when you can disconnect your mind and the senses and come to silence, that you can start purifying yourself more effectively. So this is one of the spiritual practices which is very important. In fact, I'll give you an example. Imam Ghazali's story is famous. He used to be a great scholar and he used to do a lot of public speeches, and he used to be the principal of Nizamuddin University, right? But it was only after he gave up that position and experienced times of long periods of silence and a lot of dhikr and a lot of refining and reflecting on himself and bettering himself, that he changed his life completely over the months and years. Another example of this is amongst the Naqshbandis, those who follow the spiritual path of the Naqshbandi silsila. So you may see them sitting for a long time, and they're sitting in silence and usually focused on Allah's name or doing dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you'll notice a lot of those scholars, even the ulama amongst them, are people of great depth, because they're not into a lot of the noise and they're not into the fame and all that. So the true ones amongst them have great depth. So this is a great reminder for us in general, that this is a prophetic sunnah and prophetic command for us to get in the habit of silence, to get in the habit of closing the phone and having some period of time, whether at the masjid or whether at some space in our home or somewhere else, where we just spend a lot of time in silence, quieting down the mind, quieting down the nafs, quieting down all the noise inside, right? When the outside noise is closed, real silence is internal silence. And once the internal silence happens and it's calm, then you can actually realize the truth of who you are, the truth and beauty of the Quran, the truth and beauty of the Rahmah entering your heart and your ruh. So that's just the principle and reminder for today, is spend more time just in quiet solitude. You may see this even amongst the Buddhists who spend, days upon days and months upon months in long retreats. And some of them, like in the Vipassana tradition, they have, a couple of days retreat and they're doing absolutely nothing. I mean, it's complete silence. But the goal is, once you quiet that down, they believe that you get more spiritual openings. And we also believe, from the Prophet's command, that as you do more of this, if it's done in the right way and done with you maintaining your prayers and maintaining your relationship with Allah and all the other things, this actually opens up more doors for you to be more deep in your relationship with Allah. I'll give you, lastly, a simple example of this: our prayer. The majority of us, the main problem of our prayer and why we don't have khushu' is we don't even think about what we're doing. We're not mindful. We say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu alhamdulillah, Allah. We're going in speed. We're going out of habit, right? So we have to sometimes just say Allahu Akbar and silence everything else and then think about, oh, Allah is the greatest. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Think about the meaning. If we just slow down and in silence just reflect on and be mindful of what we have, we will gain so much spiritual ground and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So more silence means more mindfulness, means more close relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give you and me and all of us the blessing of silence, the blessing of Iman, and the blessing of being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.